Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of OneMicNite, the podcast that brings you stories of artists and people on their journey, helping to guide, answer questions, and motivate you in life and the business. You already know who I am. It's Marcos Luis, and I want to thank you guys all for joining me and keeping me around for 17 years. I'm really, really happy, and thank you for being on this journey, helping me to document stories of artists and people who help the community and show up. Today, I am extremely excited. My guests today have an incredible movie out. It's a documentary. It's called The Blind Eye Artist. And I want to bring to you three people who are involved in the film. The director is Ashwin Chowdhury, producer John Korn, and the subject of this incredible documentary is Justin Wadlington. Welcome to the show, guys.
What up?
Thank you guys all for joining me. It's hard to get everybody coordinated to be here at one time, so thank you guys all for being here and making the time for me.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Honor.
Listen, man, I have lots of questions for you guys. So first of all, we met not too long ago, and we met at a place called the Harlem International Film Festival, which is an incredible film festival that happens in New York City. This is the 18th year, and I moderate the film events, but your event, I sort of moderated. I introduced the moderator. So I was the moderator who introduced the moderator. So I got a chance to meet you guys, but I have so many questions for you. How was that film event for you guys?
Oh man, I don't know. What do you guys think? That might have been the best one. Just the turnout, the discussion. I mean, it was special.
Special time. Justin, how was it for you?
I definitely thought it was amazing. I mean, anytime you get to see a film like with your story on a big screen and people watching and asking questions, I mean, that's pretty epic. So it's always amazing, but that one definitely was particularly amazing. Just the venue, everything was epic. So yeah.
So I'd be amiss if I didn't give a shout out to one, the Harlem Film Festival, two, Columbia University, who provided the forum, which is where it took place. And of course, to all the incredible filmmakers who come there and share their stories and documentaries, and especially you guys. So Justin, I noticed when I was there, I'd never met you in person before, but man, you are a beacon of light. The amount of people that were drawn to you in this film festival was astounding. How did that feel for you?
It felt great. It's always surreal though. You know what I mean? Like, just it happens to me, and and it's like I just soak it in. I don't really think too much about it, and I just stay grateful for like these things. But it's always like, damn, like, who, me? What are they? I don't know. Sometimes I get that feeling like it's just a surreal feeling, like a dream. But not something necessarily that I dreamed of, but just when it happens, it's kind of like it's always like surprising. But I don't know. I'm always honored by it. I definitely feel like, I mean, at least they're like gravitating towards something that's positive, which was the documentary and the energy maybe they feel. So I mean, that's all good.
Who is Justin Wallington?
Who was Justin Wadlington? That's deep.
Yeah.
Man, I could say I'm a being, something similar to what you just said about a being, a beacon of light.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a beacon of light, but I do feel like we are all energy, existing in this physical form. So from that, I do believe like I'm a energy, just trying to find his purpose out here, and maybe that's through art, maybe that's through other things, communication. But I just think that Justin Wallington is a ever evolving person who's trying to find his way, and luckily he found art, and art is connecting people from all over the world, and I'm just going to keep that going.
Interesting you said energy, because energy is something that never ends and it's always going, and it just goes throughout time.
Definitely.
What do you think about that? Yeah.
As far as what we know, you know what I mean?
Right.
We know what we know. So based off of, what we've gathered, that seems to be the case. And we've got this opportunity to have thoughts and manifest them into other forms, which is the visuals from different ways, from painting to podcast to audio, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely this energy that we are able to manipulate and control a little bit is definitely all around and seems seemingly timeless.
How do you manifest your energy? You're a multimedia artist, so you show your energy in different ways. We see from the film, which we'll talk about in just a second, that you're a poet, a visual artist, do quite a few things.
That is deep. I think that I once made a quote. I said something along the line. It's not a quote. I once said something maybe like a Facebook status that the step beyond mastery is naturally. So meaning like I feel like once you become who you are, things just happen naturally for you, and you don't put too much thought into it. So maybe with me, how I do these things, it first took practice and took dedication and things like that. And it still does. But I definitely think that I don't try too hard with anything that I do these days. It's just, I do try hard, but it's not like trying hard to be something. It's more like trying hard to like just perfect my being as a person. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'll have thoughts of let's write something down and see. I grew up loving hip hop and things like that, and writing for some reason. I was always gravitated to writing. And before I even got back into art fully, because I stopped for a long time, I thought writing was like a good outlet to pick up. So I would like start writing like poetry and things like that, and that's where that Imagine poem came from. But some things just happen, and I always I ask myself or ask the universe, like, where is this coming from? But I'm always thankful for it. But it happens like intuitively, I think.
You think as an artist we should put restrictions on ourselves, or should we just let it manifest in different ways?
I think that as a human, I think everything sounds philosophical, but this is like how I think. I think as a human, we should all find a way to govern ourselves the right way, whatever that right way is. So like we should put restrictions on ourselves in certain areas and unrestrict certain areas at the same time. And I mean, it's all like a game of trying to figure out how to do it. But I don't think anybody should just live without self control or restraint or anything like that. I think that person needs to figure that out and observe where they're at, their surroundings, and who they're dealing with, things like that, and like act accordingly from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
It's never like a concrete thing. It's up to that person to kind of like figure it out.
I mean, in terms of art, not so much in terms of just living a free life and just doing whatever you want to, disregarding the laws of society, but just, I mean, in general, like if you're an artist, should you only be contained to being a visual artist, or should you let it manifest? And
yeah, let it manifest.
Okay.
I think maybe you should initially focus on something and master that, whatever it is, and then branch out after that. But if you just let everything just happen, you'll never have that. I think you need a little bit of discipline and containment, even when you're trying to be an artist, to really understand what it's like to master something. And then after you do that, then you can kind of dabble here and there. But you can also dabble always. But like I said, it's just like a level of control you should at least try in the beginning, even with art, to fully branch out after that, in my opinion.
Okay. Let's talk about the film, guys. Incredible film, documentary called The Blind Eye Artist. How did this film come about for you guys?
Anything you want to complete in life, you got to visualize it first. When I'm sitting in front of that blank canvas, it's basically like a moment of meditation. In my head, I know what it's going to look like when it's done. I know it's going to be a marathon.
Just, yeah, this is you, bro.
I don't know how long or when this whole lockdown is going to end, but art, it needs to be seen in person. I went into this painting thinking it was going to be my final piece of the decade.
He's turned a huge tragedy on top of a challenging year into an opportunity.
The work is certainly incredibly powerful. It tells about an important period of time.
People always ask me, how can I paint with vision in only one eye? I had this mentality that it was mind over matter anyway.
Anything's possible, no matter what you went through.
It was all about survival for the most part.
Everything that happened to him basically said, you weren't supposed to make it.
You know, I was looking like, man, this guy's talented. He wasn't getting the exposure that he was supposed to get.
When I go into detail, I definitely feel like going into another dimension. Hold my breath, make sure my hand doesn't shake, and get in that zone.
He went from daycare walls to t-shirts to canvas to selling his paintings to world-famous art collectors and celebrities.
Whew, you gonna fall over?
Self-taught artists, we definitely have to take a different road. You know, sometimes you never even dream that you'll be amongst those people. The art saves me. Without further ado, I call this painting,
God bless you. God bless you.
Your mom, she's in heaven just saying, you are the dream.
if you can see it a certain way in your mind, you can command your eye to do what you want it to do.
Ashwin.
Well, we were working on another project, and the subject of that, it was a local news piece about a pilot, and he kind of recommended Justin on Instagram, and we checked out his profile, and I mean, right away, like the artwork just jumps off the screen at you. I mean, that's the first thing you notice about him, and then you scroll down more, and you realize, like, you start to wonder, who is this artist, and you see like little hints of like blind eye here and there, and you realize his life story was kind of there in all this posts, and blinded as a kid in one eye, and grew up in group homes in Philly, and I mean the story just kind of went on, and we're like, this is incredible. And me and John are from the Philadelphia area ourselves, so we were immediately intrigued. Philadelphia area artist, self-taught, blind one eye. I mean, we got to try to do something. We got to try to make something happen with him. And me and John have a production company. We do documentaries, and it's mostly in sports. And this was something so different than everything we'd worked on up until that point. And I sent Justin a message on IG, and I don't think he saw the first one. We finally set something up at a coffee shop in Philly. And when I met him in person, it was kind of even larger than life, is like the words that come to mind, even kind of more than I expected. And I texted John, like, we have to do something for real about this artist.
Yeah, the timing wise, it was, a once in a lifetime month that we first met Justin. This is March 12th, 2020. World's starting to shut down, but our shoot was kind of up in the air, but we decided just to do it. And, thank God we did, because once we got to sit down with him for, was probably like half of a day. Our first interview was a couple hours, and really I feel like just was like a tip of the iceberg of Justin's story. And but I think Ashwin and I were both just knew that it was something we wanted to invest in and to do justice to. So that first shoot, probably 2.5 years later, there's probably something in the 40 to 50 shoots with Justin, and the full kind of so many different phases of his life and just the fine art world we got to experience. And yeah, when little did we know just how much of a journey it would be right when we first met him, but it was, yeah, the more time we spent, just the more we could see the story that we were trying to tell. So it was, yeah, really just a once in a lifetime situation there with the just world shutting down. But yeah, we were we were inspired to do it justice.
How do you how do you tackle something like that during, the pandemic? Like you said, the world was shut down. A lot of people didn't even want to get close to you at that time. How do you, as a filmmaker, what was the crew like? How do you get people together to shoot this documentary?
Well, it's funny because like it started off as like the origin story of Justin. I mean, in 2020, he had already he'd done a lot of amazing paintings and kind of made some waves, and he was kind of on his way up. So it was the original film arc was to kind of track how he made it from like point A to B. And that first interview, as John was saying, was like a couple days before the world shut down. So it was like we weren't too worried about it. We were kind of joking about Rudy Gobert touching the mics in the NBA. Like it didn't seem real just yet, but then it got really real. And it was probably about 2 months later in May when we wanted to interview Justin again. And that was, people were wearing, I don't think masks were a thing yet in May. That came later in the year, but it was right before the George Floyd protest pretty much shook up every major city in the country. And like literally days before that, we interviewed Justin, and had we waited like another couple of days, it would have been like Philly was just shut down because of like the protests and riots. So we kind of just managed to get these interviews in with Justin around these crazy historical occurrences. And that just was a constant theme throughout the making of the film.
And I don't think none of us really cared to stop anything. Like I was like, I don't care if COVID going on. This is like a one shot, like John and Ashwin was saying, it's like a once in a lifetime kind of moment. So like us, I think as a whole, like everybody kind of just treated it like that wasn't going on. We were just like capturing it like news reporters and living in it, but not afraid of it. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people were afraid of that moment, and rightfully so. But I think maybe that's like some sort of low key power of an artist, where you just, you struggle, like you're used to the struggle one way or another, and you want to get your thing out there. So you're like, I'll stand on the ledge of a balcony, or I'll do this just to get that one shot. And I think that's really epic that they were shooting this throughout all of that. So
yeah, it definitely takes a lot.
If I recall, we didn't care.
I realize I didn't even answer your question, Marcos.
It does.
COVID aspect, but like we were always wondering, like, should we be wearing masks in this scene? Like, how will this be looked on in like 2 years, 5 years? Like, oh, they're not masked up in the museum. That was like a big thing in editing. And so we have some scenes with mask on, just that was a sign of the times.
Right. Absolutely. I have a personal film where we shot with masks on. We can talk about that later, but yeah, it would definitely designate a certain time period, which could actually be another character in the film. But exactly. You chose to do it like that. Justin, how were you feeling at the time about going into a documentary to expose your life?
I mean, at that point in my life, it was like second nature. I mean, I was always kind of being vulnerable on my like platforms, I guess you would say. Mm-hmm. So to get it to a different level of platform, it was just like a perfect segue, I guess you would say. But I always felt like one of the reasons why maybe people don't connect with people as much as they could is because a lot of people don't express like some of the vulnerable parts about themselves that people can relate to. And I mean, everybody wants to have it all right and be perfect online. And, when you meet them in person. So just me as an artist, and it's kind of I always feel strange even calling myself an artist, because I always say like, I'm not big on titles. Mm-hmm. Like it's just weird, but I understand that I am an artist in many ways. So I just felt like to get people to connect to me even more is like, just be open, be vulnerable, let them know about my experiences. And the irony is that is what brought the attention to Juice Crew, Ashwin and John. So it all worked out. It's crazy.
Absolutely. And I always say this on a lot of the episodes, your authenticity leads to your vulnerability. Or I'm sorry, the other way around. Vulnerability leads to your authenticity. And that's what people are attracted to. And that's how you make the connection. You're absolutely right. and you're telling your story. So once you do that, people will follow you and people will understand they have something, you have something that it resonates, with. So yeah, absolutely.
I think we all have similarities, you know what I mean? Just like maybe I'm just the one that wasn't as afraid. Not saying people are afraid, but maybe I was just the one that was more outgoing with my dialogue, you know what I mean? And now it's almost like a stand-up comedian, we laugh because it's like he might say something that we all have experienced.
Right.
You know what I mean? We don't even know each other, but it's something we all experienced together. And he's the one that like came up, put together the story or whatever like that. So this is kind of similar. I mean, it's not funny, but at the same time, it is funny parts in there. But yeah, I don't know.
Before we go on too far, and for people who haven't even seen the film yet, let's tell us a little bit about what the story is.
So yeah, I mean, it started as an origin story of Justin, and like when the pandemic hit and 2020 happened, it became this is a moment in time through the eye of an artist, a very unique artist, and we got to see Justin go from what he was in 2020 to just really kind of scale the heights of the art world, which, we didn't really know about. So to kind of experience that with him as it was happening, the film kind of took on a life of its own, and his artwork got hung in galleries in the Hamptons, Sotheby's, and we got to kind of follow along, be a fly on the wall as he, met bigger and bigger people in the art world. And the paintings just, I think he maybe had about like 9 more original paintings from the first shoot to the end of the production. So we were just trying to keep up with him over the next couple of years.
Yeah, story arc kept evolving throughout our production, and I think that was what we were lucky enough to be flexible with this project, because there was kept on being stories that were contributing to the overall story arc. So it was an ever evolving process. But yeah, I think my favorite part was just being able to capture some of these real moments in real time. Ashwin mentioned it went from kind of an origin story to a true documentary of experiencing Justin's rise in the art world right with him. So yeah, we got to experience the scope of the project just became so much bigger as we started working through the first year of production. And as I mentioned, just wanted to make sure that we did it justice. So we just kept shooting as much as we could.
So how do you choose from all the footage, which parts fit in? I mean, obviously there's some pinnacle points which people who watch the documentary will see. How do you choose from all that footage what to put in there? And Ashwin, you as a director, how do you direct which way it's going? Because I know we know as directors and filmmakers that a film, with the original intent doesn't always end up with that final product.
Yeah, exactly. And there's stuff that happens that you just can't plan for. And we definitely had like a kind of story in mind around his origin story. And even just through 2020, we wanted to kind of tie it together with Justin unveiling a self-portrait. That was the first time we met him. He was working on his masterpiece called I Once Was Blind. If you haven't seen it, got to check out this painting. And that painting kind of symbolized the film and Justin's life. And that just felt like a very kind of perfect beginning and ending story arc to us. And then we thought we were done, maybe like 45-minute film, borderline feature length. And then I remember Justin just called me one day and he said, "You got to see this new painting I'm working on. It's Kobe Bryant painting." And then he showed me a picture and I was like, "Oh my God, we got to get this in the movie now. How does this fit in?" So that just realized at that point, we weren't even halfway done telling the story at that point. So it's just crazy how many times it changed.
How it changed. Justin, you were a producer on the film. What did you have a lot of input on what we saw? Or did you give control? You just let them do their thing?
I mean, I think we all just, obviously, Ashwin and John had a vision, and I just kind of did my part. Honestly, I just was like, these guys are like, even watching them the first time, I think it wasn't the first time, but like one of the times when we went to the Hamptons and had this exhibition out there in 2020. And like, I think me and my friend Glenn had left And then like Ashwin and John were still there filming. I think they had the like a harness mount with the camera. I'm just like, yo, they really like taking they really like enjoy doing this. So I always felt that was like really cool, that I felt like as hard as I felt like I was working on the artwork and like kind of like staying up late, like literally they were up doing the same thing and like working hard and I don't even think like they, you know, that how Ashwin just mentioned, there like it just kept changing, you know, like, and I didn't know what their end result goal was anyway. I mean, I kind of did, but the more we kind of just did what we were doing, more stuff happened to come to us. Like, you know, energy, like the law of attraction kind of thing. I felt like more events happened, more just epic stuff. And it was like a collaboration from all over. So many people kind of was like, oh yeah, y'all can film here. Oh yeah, let's do it. And then it turned into what it is today. It's just like, when you see like the final, it's just like, man, it's like a whole world building
masterpiece, I have to say. How did you guys get, during that time, how did you guys get agreement for people to let you film? Were they apprehensive about, you know, coming into the gallery filming and people throwing events and things like that? Was that an obstacle for you?
Yeah, for some of the bigger events, a lot of just individual releases, which you just had to be prepared for. But a lot of filming with Justin's friends and people that he knew, I think you know, we certainly felt the sense that, you know, they were as invested as, well, just as invested as Justin in telling his story. So it was, a collaboration, and, you know, there was kind of feeding off the inspiration that, you know, that Justin's works brings out, but also just seeing his process, and wanted to, that was also just inspiring for us to see how these pieces go from a blank canvas to, you know, a masterpiece. And it was, you know, a world we haven't experienced. So we wanted to make sure we could, in the production process, you know, capture as much as we can. And then in the post-production, just maximize the story, and make it as accessible for an audience to be inspired by Justin. And that's, I think, ultimately what me and Ashwin want this film to be, is a vehicle for inspiration for not just painters, but anybody who is endeavoring in the creative world. We feel that Justin's story is a roadmap for how to succeed in 2023.
I like that. I was going to ask you that question, and now I'm going to shift it to Justin, because I want to know the same thing from you. Art is sort of the essence usually of social change. What is your art about? Is it that, or are you focusing on something else?
Is my art about social change?
Mm-hmm. Or some sort of social issue?
I mean, social, I mean, I guess that could mean like a lot of things: collaborative, emotion, connection with people that are around you. So in some aspects, I think my art is more trying to just create this like thing of limitless possibilities. You know what I mean? It's like just that's why I post so much on my social media things. It's just like, I want you to like see this timeline of like it's really happening. It's not, nothing's happening like because of one post and things like that. It's like life is a journey, you know what I mean? And you can elevate and you can kind of progress if you just you know, stay focused and have a vision in mind. So like, even when you see my art, it starts like small, then over the years it's becoming, you know, larger and larger. That's like a sign of like elevation. And it's not elevation like monetarily or anything like that. It's more like a spiritual elevation, you know what I mean? Just to get people to think bigger, like consistently. So my art, you know, some ways I do try to do things that I feel like we'll all relate to. You know what I mean? Like I grew up on hip hop. I grew up on just like poetry and metaphors and things like that. And I read a lot of books. So I put things in my paintings that I always think that won't even be understood like right away when you see it. But like I always used to watch like ironically documentaries and things of how these like art historians go back and uncover like hidden things within paintings and things that like stand the test of time, like certain analogies and metaphors. So like if you look at a lot of my paintings, they're all like metaphorical. Even like the title to the painting is like it means multiple things. And I think that's just like my way of like getting people to think like critically or like I don't know, just try to be more thought provoking. So I kind of mix it up. Like it's not one direct thing every painting. It's kind of like you might get something here, something there, but it all stems from a feeling of trying to like get people to like see like there's like limitless possibilities. And lately I've been painting myself in a lot of artwork because it's like I want one day for people to go to a museum and see a painting and say like, and somebody tells that person like that guy right there is the guy who actually painted this painting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And you don't really see a lot of like Black painters artwork. Like you can go to a museum right now and see a epic painting, and you might not even know that it was like a Black painter. Like by default, you might think it was, someone else or whatever. But that's why I also try to specifically do that as well to show people like, yo, you can have tattoos and whatever and still like do epic stuff and still hang in a museum or a gallery. So.
Yeah, diversity and representation is definitely a huge part of where we are now, and of course, stimulating from where the George Floyd thing happened. Like a lot of people are moving towards that. Do you guys, as filmmakers, feel like that was important to you, or did you just see this as a story that stuck out, or do you understand that it created a powerful platform?
Yeah,
of diversity and representation by having him?
For sure. I mean, I think going into it, it was more about Justin and his particular story. But then as the events of 2020 kind of unfolded and we realized there's this kind of larger social moment that we were living in, it really struck a chord at, how many parallels there were to Justin's own story. And his painting, Black American Dream, which he painted here in our studio in Brooklyn, just to have him painting that, and the message behind that painting and when he decided to paint that, I mean, I don't know if you want to call that like fate or whatever, but yeah, it was powerful to hear Justin as he's painting on canvas talking about his feelings about George Floyd and just what's going on. I mean, there was just some surreal moments to that. Yeah, so I think the film kind of took on more of a social meaning, just kind of by accident, I would say, rather than by design, and it was more authentic that way.
Interesting. Justin, you say what? I saw you smile on that one.
No, some of my paintings are crazy because I'll paint something and then it'll like happen later, like in the near future later, like a year later or something. And it happens like often.
Listen, let me tell you something. You said it in the beginning. It's energy. It's everything in alignment, and it's your vibration. You're a high vibration person. So this is all happening for a reason. And all you can do is receive it and go with it.
Yeah. It's definitely trippy receiving it. I'm like, what is
That's just all it is. What's been the journey of the film? So you were at the Harlem International Film Festival. Where else did you guys go, and where are we now?
Yeah, so Harlem was our last film festival. We were at, I think, 5 or 6 other film festivals. But yeah, it was great at Harlem to connect. One of our last scenes in the film was actually shot just a couple blocks from the Harlem Film Festival. So that was a full circle moment there to have some of the kids that were in the classroom that Justin connected with to be at that, to be able to see it on the big screen. But yeah, we are excited to just this week be released, have our streaming premiere on Amazon Prime. So just we're 1 week into being available on Amazon, which has been probably a year and a half or so of post-production and kind of navigating just the distribution world, which, has certainly, the landscape of which has changed a lot in the last 5+ years. So yeah, just the feeling of finally having this out there and available to the world is almost 3 years working towards being available. So that is one thing that we are just excited about, but just the kind of the beginning of our distribution plan, working towards, by the end of the year, we'll be available on some other platforms. And now just we kind of shift gears to trying to get this inspiration in front of as many people as we can.
Incredible. Ashwin, how are you feeling?
I mean, it's starting to feel real that we did this. Just seeing that over Justin's shoulder on Amazon Prime is definitely special, that we could share this story with anybody that wants to be inspired. I mean, I feel like these days, like true crime and like there's a lot of just heavy stuff happening in the world, and then like the stuff that's getting made is a reflection of that, I think. So this, I think, has a chance to stand out and open some eyes. Hopefully by word of mouth, people can, say, have you heard about this blind eye artist? You got to check out this guy's story. Because I think it's not just the art story. It's just picking yourself up and practicing something every day and getting better at it. I mean, there's so many takeaways and life lessons packed in here, and plus just amazing artwork and just fun scenes and funny moments, and Justin's personality and so many interviews with him and the journey of the film. I mean, I think it led Justin to a pretty special place in his life. So just to see that just over his shoulder right there is pretty gratifying.
So how are you feeling about it?
Oh man, who, me, right?
Yeah.
I feel great. Like I keep saying it, that it's surreal. It's definitely surreal. But man, just to know, because I've seen a lot of people say, this is their third, fourth time watching it. Like Ashwin just says, like the word of mouth thing is like what makes it like even cooler. You know what I mean? It's not like we have to obviously we're going to do our part. That's kind of like the main thing, is like we all in this world do our part. But it's kind of cool when you can see other people passing along the thing without you asking them to. You know what I mean? It's just like, I showed my mom, I showed my best friend. They just watched it. They showed somebody. So just to hear that makes it like even more real. It kind of reminds me of when I first started to try to sell my artwork, like my prints and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I always felt like it seemed cooler when it wasn't like a friend or a family member that supported. Like when it was just like a total stranger in Connecticut that said, "Hey, I want to buy that from you." That felt great, you know what I mean? Because it seemed real. It wasn't just like people just feeling sorry for you and want to support because you're your friend. So this is the same thing. It's like seeing total strangers, people I never even saw until they made a post about it. That like, oh, I saw this guy's documentary. The craziest thing is I was in my apartment complex getting on the elevator last night, and somebody said, "Didn't you just come out with a film not too long ago?" And I'm like, "What?" He's like,
No way.
He was like, "I see you somewhere," and I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Yeah, you're an artist." I was like, "That is crazy."
Yeah,
that by itself is just trippy to me. So I'm happy. That made me kind of happy and nervous at the same time. I gotta watch it, but. Nah, it's definitely amazing to feel this and to see where it goes. I definitely feel like it's the beginning. Yeah.
I like that. What do you have coming up in the future? I know we're working on this right now and trying to make this happen and everybody see it, but what are you working on personally coming up?
I'm actually working on a large painting as we speak. It's pretty big. And it's kind of crazy. I started that one and then I paused it to do another painting for an exhibit that's at the Flag Art Foundation right now till January 20th. did a cool picture painting of Brooke Shields. So just finished that one up. I'm working on this other one. I should have that done. And this one's going to take like, man, a couple more months. This one is like, this is a big project right here. So that's what I'll be working on for a while. Then, trying to let people see this documentary at the same time. And honestly, I don't plan too far in advance because a lot of things have unfolded kind of by, I don't know, whatever, just unfolding. So I just don't, I know I'm going to finish this. I know I'm gonna have an art show. Then after that, we'll see what happens. Pretty much.
Okay. Guys, you have anything you're working on as well that you'd like to talk about?
I mean, I think we're kind of at the next phase of the journey now, which is trying to get this film out there. I mean, it's been pretty amazing like Justin was saying, people have been giving us great feedback, and you kind of forget when you're locked in the filmmaking process, just like taking a step back and, how does this make somebody feel? Do they relate to it? And to hear the reviews, to read them, definitely inspires us to just keep working hard to market it. So, social media, podcasts, we just want to get the word out there. So, I mean, we're lucky to meet you, Marcos, in Harlem, and that we had a great vibe with you moderating that discussion afterwards. So it's pretty cool, full circle to like be talking to you here with the movie available for people to see. So yeah, thank you for.
It's a beautiful thing. No, thank you guys. Thank you guys for showing it at the Harlem International Film Festival as well. So yeah, how can we get in touch with you and the company? Also, let us know the information. Is there a website?
Yep. Oh, the website for the film is blindeyeartist.com, which when the film is available on other platforms, it'll all be kind of centralized at the website.
Okay.
But for now, exclusively on Amazon Prime.
Yep. And we are Juice Groove Films out of Brooklyn, New York.
Okay. And is that the website as well? If we need to find that.
Films.
Okay.
Yeah. JuiceGrooveFilms.com.
Beautiful. Just one quick question. What did you guys shoot on? What camera?
It was predominantly the Red.
The Red.
Yep.
Okay.
But we had, also did a lot of like time-lapse photography that was also involved, but Red was our A cam, had a lot of different B cams that were also involved, but yeah, that was our main camera.
Okay. Pretty good. Well done. Justin, how can we get in touch with you? Mr. Social Media.
I was going to say real quick, Ashman and John are like the best at film. Like when you see the film, you'll see their cinematography.
It's like incredible.
And like, man, everything is like top-notch quality. So I just wanted to kind of like mention that. So, but
absolutely. Do you want to give a shout out to the cinematographer? I'm sorry, Justin. Do you guys want to give a shout out to some people who worked on the film with you?
For sure. Steve Yingling, our cinematographer, just crushes it. I mean, he's the best with the gimbal in his hand, and just some of the shots of Justin,
incredible,
boxing,
incredible.
Like, yeah, I mean, he really just helped bring that to life. And then Neil, Justin's friend Neil, provided a lot of the music that you hear in the movie too. He's been working with Justin, collaborating with him for years. So super talented guy. Got to give a shout out to Neil.
Okay. Important, definitely important.
Can we do a shout out?
Let's go.
Like Dejanay Reed, she's like one of the teachers in the film that was speaking. Friend Branya, shout out to Brian Reeves, shout out to Chan and Alex and who else? Neil, Big G, Glenn Furman. Like, man, he's the man. Like, man.
Writer, producer. He's done a few films too, right?
Just as a great person. I mean, like somebody you want to have in your corner, just real like humble, real. If it wasn't for him, like I can't even begin to know where I would be right now. You know what I mean? And shout out to Shaquille O'Neal, shout out to Kevin Hart, shout out to Wayne Brown. These guys are also another reason why a lot of epic things have happened. You know what I mean? Brooke Shields, David Kratz, and the New York Academy of Art.
Yes.
Yeah. So Nikki, my friend Nikki, Nicole Smith, Crystal. All right, I'm gonna stop.
That's all right. I mean, listen, this is your support system. We have to say it. We have to say it.
Crystal, Jordan Spector.
Yeah.
EVO Art. Like, this is a place where I get my prints and my framing work done. LR2, Les Richards. They like all of the suits that you see me in the film with.
Mm-hmm.
I told them, like, we need to talk about some.
That's right.
Every outfit is like, I go there and make sure I'm right. So yeah, it's just that's why I mentioned earlier about like how it's just a cool collaboration of so many different people that were genuinely just down to like be a part of something. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And that's kind of what makes things happen naturally and just like epically. I know that's not a word, but like just,
it is now.
a lot of people are like, oh, what are they going to do for me and this and that, and then like they don't want to do it. It's like, yo, this could be your moment to just be all you can be and make something like magical happen. And I think the reason why this happened the way it happened was because of the genuine like energy that went inside of it. So yeah.
Without community, there's nothing for us as artists. And and that means, like you just said, sharing the film. It happens organically. Somebody likes what you did because you're being authentic with who you are. They like it. It resonates, and they're going to share your film. And that's part of the marketing that we need. So everybody watching, please share this film. Let everybody know that this is going to be on Amazon Prime for now. It's only a couple of bucks. I'm watching it again. I saw it for free, but I'm going to pay for it now. So, you know what I mean? It's sharing, and it's a powerful story, and it's something that needs to be seen. So I encourage everybody to do that. So how can we get in touch with you, Justin?
Just my main thing is Instagram. At Justin Wallington is my name. JustinWadlington. Where can we find your art, Justin? You can definitely find my art on blindeyevisions.com. I sign every print. I have limited edition prints on there as well, where I number it, sign it, embellish it with a little paint. And I also have like some paintbrushes too, my own paintbrush line. Waldlington is the brand. So and that's also on blindeyevisions.com. So definitely check that out.
There you go. Make sure you check out the merchandise on that website as well.
I try not to, I have a couple other platforms, but it's mind-boggling to try to be everywhere at once and, engage everywhere. So that's like my main thing, Instagram for now.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, you probably, at this point, you probably need people to help you manage the social media, but Instagram, we can get in touch with you. That's good. Well, guys, I want to thank you for being on the show. Thank you for coming on OneMicNite. Please, everybody in the sound of my voice, make sure you check out this film, The Blind Eye Artist. These three guys have put together an incredible documentary. Make sure you see it, Amazon Prime. Follow them on the social media, get in touch with them. My name is Marco Luis. You can follow me at MarcosLuis. Contact the show at OneMicNite. OneMicNite is OneMicNite. All the notes for the show and the film will be down in the bottom of the episode notes. If you're listening to the audio, please make sure you go over to YouTube and watch the show. Every Tuesday night, we're on, hop in the live chat, talk about the episode. That's it. Thanks for joining me. Also, check out my store. You can get some merch, as well as on the Blind Eye Artist. You can get some of their merch too. I went in there. I'm buying something myself. But follow me and check out my merchandise as well. New mugs on the way here. OneMicNite. See you next time. Bye.